Welcome everyone to continue our discussion on Islamic monotheism. This is Arta Viraf's Night Journey. You probably never heard of him, but he's a mythical character in Persian mythology or Persian religion. Obviously, you can see this creature here reminds us of the Burak, right? Here you've got an idea of the Burak, the colorful Burak. Now, this has a variety of names, amongst others, the Arda Viraz Namag. Now, Zoroastrianism has a winged horse-like creature with a human head. In Zoroastrianism, Arta Viraf made a night journey to heaven under the guidance of angel Sarosh in an old Pahlavi book known as the Book of Arta Viraf. The story describes the journey of a saintly priest who went into a trance, and his spirit went up to the heavens under the guidance of Sarosh. He passed from one utopia to another, the seven heavens equivalent, until he reached the presence of Ormazd, the great deity of the whole universe. When Arta saw the heavens and how happy its inhabitants were, Ormazd commanded him to return to Earth as his messenger. It doesn't ring a bell. Not familiar at all. I don't know. If anyone can think of a connection to something we know on this world, let me know. And he asked him to return to his messenger to tell the people all that he saw and heard. Ormazd commanded that his followers pray 5 times a day. I don't know. I've never heard of a religion that requires praying 5 times a day. Just not ringing any bells here. In both religions, there's a specified worship of 5 times a day commanded by Allah. Oh, they're talking about Islam. Islam, the Burak and 5 times. Oh, yes. Okay. Makes sense now. Zoroastrianism and Islam share a specified worship in relation to the movement of the sun. Zoroastrians call this specified worship Ga worship or prayer. The term Ga means period of time or place. So Ga worship means loosely timed worship. Okay, so what else has Islam borrowed? Let's continue. Back to the Kaaba. So Abraham built the Kaaba, right? Now let's have a look at this Da'if Bukhari hadith, right? This is from volume 4, book 55, hadith 636. Narrated Abu Dar, I said, Allah's messenger, which mosque was built first? He replied, Al-Masjid al-Haram. I asked which was built next. He said, Al-Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. I asked what was the period in between them, and he replied, 40 years. Don't forget, this is in Da'if Bukhari, because if we show Muslims that this is Sahih, they'll tell us that's Da'if. There's no point calling these Sahih when every single one of them, when we show them to a Muslim, becomes Da'if immediately. Let's continue. So, this is the Christian era. This is the start of the Christian era. Right? King Solomon built the Temple of Jerusalem in about 957 BC. According to the 7th century Muhammad, who came hundreds of years after Jesus, the Kaaba is 40 years older, built in 997 BC. Now this is clearly false, because if Abraham built the Kaaba, born in 1800 BC and he died in 1625 BC, he was dead before the Kaaba was built. But the Kaaba was built by Abraham. Abraham repaired the Kaaba and then destroyed the idols that he put into them that he no longer believed in. Yeah, or Abraham built it and Abraham repaired it and then destroyed the idols, or he destroyed the idols, then repaired the Kaaba. The Islamic story has severe chronological issues. It makes no sense. I hope this is clear now. Now, of course, this Da'if Bukhari hadith clearly is false. It cannot be Sahih. There's no way that this is true. Abraham, we know, died much earlier. So the story that they're making up, this claim for the age, this is just sheer desperation on behalf of Muslim apologists. Now note, the black stone at the Kaaba is called Al-Hajar. Hajar is the Arabic variant of Hagar, oddly enough. Next, we're going to shift to some old maps. But before I get there, let me finish this section with this little tidbit of information. So, you know that Muhammad was white. His skin was white. His armpits were white. His bum cheeks were white, for all we know, right? Now, let's have a look at what else is important that they be white in Islam. This is from the Encyclopedia of Islam, and this is called Ghura. It's the first day of the month, in one meaning, in historical works and correspondence. It's also a term used in Bedouin society for the young girl who must be a virgin. She must be white. Now, ask yourself, where in Arabia did these Arabians get white girls? Well, they stole them from Europe. Right? Don't forget, the Atlantic slave trade is, 350,000 to 500,000 Africans were taken across the Atlantic to North America, which includes Canada and America. Of course, they ignore the 14.5 million black slaves that were taken to South America. And of course, they forget the 20 to 120 or more million black slaves taken to Arabia. But what's important to note is that while they do moan about the perhaps 500,000 black slaves taken from Africa to America, to North and South America, well, North America, including Canada, they fail to mention the minimum 1.5 million whites taken as slaves to Africa by, well, these Muslims and African slave traders, because they would raid Europe. And so you're looking at a minimum of 3 to 6 times as many whites was taken from Europe to Africa than were taken from Africa to North America. But notice here, this ghura, it's a white girl, a white virgin, right, who's given by the family of a murderer to a member of the injured family as compensation. In turn, the latter forgoes his right of vengeance, because you're allowed the right of vengeance to revenge yourself on someone who murders one of your family members. Or you can give them a white chick. Right. Let's have another look here. Let's go to huris. Let's have a look here. Haura, plural, hur, white. Interesting, white. Applied in particular to the very large eye of the gazelle, or oryx by extension. Haura signifies a woman whose big black eyes are in contrast to their whites, to the whites of the eye, and to the whiteness of the skin. Why didn't they mention that? I'd say the whiteness of the skin. There's more skin than generally whites of the eye, so why is this one listed second? It's like they're trying to hide the fact that the huris are white girls. In eschatology, the plural hur or huris is used in the Quran for the virgins of paradise that are promised to the Islamic believers. The jihadis will all get there. Muslims will get their 72 white women. So being white happens to be very important in Islam. White slaves, white women given as booty, white whores, hor, well, yeah. I hope I've made my point clear, and next we'll go into the maps. Thanks. See you next time.